So I don't want to hear about how bad black folks is. I mean, white people is. Because just like in everything else that we give ourselves to, whether it's sports or music or anything, we always outdo other races when we involve ourselves in specific areas in life. And when it comes to hatred, we outdo white people as well. And I think this case and this so-called culture that y'all talking about has shown that numerous times. Earlier this evening, I was going through my journal. The video that I made yesterday, I had made a statement that anything that the black community involves themselves with, we outdo everyone. We outdo everyone. And even though I was the one who said it and made the video, when I was going through my journal, I came across something that I wrote back in 2008, actually, after I returned from Dharamsala, India. And it's a passage in there that I titled Greatness. And what I wrote in there is the dual component of greatness. Even the Bible speaks on this. I believe it's in Daniel chapter 6, verse 3. Just go ahead and look that up. And when I was writing, I was really concentrating on the whole gift of greatness, because greatness is a gift, and we all have that. We all have that. Even though each and every human being has a certain percentage of greatness, and that greatness is based upon that individual's purpose and destiny in life. But what I come to recognize through the historical accounts of our particular community is that we seem to be a people who have this gift of greatness in us, and the dual component of greatness is destruction, basically. However, the entity of greatness still remains, which means you can utilize your gift of greatness for the purpose of good and therefore greatness for humanity, or you could be succumbed by what they say in Star Wars, the dark side, and you can fall greatly and become a great object of destruction. If you look at the life of Brother Jack Johnson, when he was coming up, he wanted to be the heavyweight champion of the world. However, the white community, who actually came up with the sport of boxing, due to the fact of their historical accounts way back during the days of Hannibal, when Hannibal conquered Rome, the historical accounts of slavery when the Europeans and the Portuguese and the Arabs and everyone recognized how very physically strong the Africans was, and therefore the black man is. and everything that they distributed in terms of labor over there in Spain, when the Moors went over there in Spain and they conquered all over Europe. The architect of Spain was created by way of the Moors, and until this day, the beauty of what the Moors created over there was so beautiful that when the Moors were pushed out of Spain in the year 1492, I believe, by the Crusades from the Europeans, the structures that they built over there were so beautiful. Even though they pushed the Moors out, they left their structures up because those structures were so beautiful and well constructed. So they looked at the greatness of the Moors and they left those structures there. So going back to Brother Jack Johnson, when the whites were, most people say when they were ruling boxing, they were only ruling boxing by way of the technical. You know, who they wanted to involve and who they didn't want involved. They did not want to involve the African and therefore the black man in boxing, because even though they spent a lot of time telling black people that they were inferior on every aspect, they themselves knew that the black man was physically superior. And so they didn't want black men in boxing because they knew that that black man had a greatness inside of him. And so when Brother Jack Johnson pretty much forced his way into boxing, he dominated. The same way the Moors dominated Europe, and they dominated Spain and Italy and pretty much everywhere in Sicily, because of the greatness that is sitting up inside of us. Now people may say, well, he's talking race. But as I said before, if you study history itself, and if you really paying very much attention to history and what transpired, it stands out that black people have a greatness sitting up inside of them. But the danger of greatness derives in the functioning dual component of greatness. You can be great as long as you understand how to control that greatness and you allow that greatness to be guided by way of wisdom and intelligence. Then you will be great. But if you fall, as they say again, to the dark side, the only greatness that you're going to manifest is a great fall and a great form of self-destruction. So anything that the black community give themselves to, it's obvious that simply because we have the gift of greatness, a lot of us have not been taught about the very gift and entity of greatness itself. And if you don't understand greatness itself and the danger of greatness, then you're going to fall on the other side of greatness, and you're going to have a great fall and a great destruction. That's the issue with our community today. The greatness of black people have been misled, and it has been harnessed in a wrong direction to where we are facing this day a great fall. And it has affected our youth more so, which is the future. Now the homes have been broken up You can't tell these black women anything. The black women this day are corrupting our youth. I'm just going to say it. And as the song says, I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Teach them well. This current younger generation right now, as Brother Malcolm say, the woman is the first teacher of the child. Teach them well and let them lead the way. They're being taught, but they're not being taught well. Now here's a generation of kids who have the same greatness inside of them that those before them had, but they're being taught to utilize that greatness in areas that are not so great at all. And it's only gonna cause self-destructive behavior, which is going on right now. I just not too long saw the footage of what transpired at this Juneteenth thing that they done made up. It was a bunch of young people fighting there. And just like my other video had said, we used to be able to get together and have block parties from 7 o'clock a.m. in the morning until 11 o'clock p.m. at night. No fights broke out, no deaths. Everybody knew what they were there for, and not to cause trouble, because everybody was raised. They just wasn't clothed and fed. This generation today, they're not raised. They're not being raised with moral standards. You have some people who were raised with moral standards, and you have some people who were just simply clothed and fed. Here, eat this, wear this. All right, get out of my face. Push the kids out of the house, or connect them and get them addicted to video games. As long as they somewhere being quiet, so these black women can just do whatever they want to do. This generation is being gravely misled because this generation is being gravely ignored and neglected. That's what's going on right now. And I believe it was Minister Farrakhan had said something in reference to what Brother Malcolm said. I believe it was Elijah Muhammad has said this as well. He said, a nation can rise no higher than its woman. Now, if that is indeed a fact, the black community is in big trouble, because look at our women. You can't tell them nothing. Who gonna check me, boo? Who gonna check me, boo? We are on a sinking ship. And those who call themselves the queens are the ones that is helping destroy it. They're puncturing holes in the bottom of the ship. And the ship is sinking. And then, as I said before, a lot of you get upset. You have on the male side a Tupac Shakur creating a thug life generation that he himself has said got out of control. And after the thug life got out of control, did he try to resolve it? Did he try to fix it? No. Tupac went on about his business, started making movies. He went on to Hollywood. He was out there doing his own thing. But you can't make a mess and refuse to clean it up, because the mess that you make and you refuse to clean it up, that mess is going to become a monster. And in time, that monster is going to come and snuff you out. Study the book Frankenstein. And people may say, oh, he's talking about Frankenstein. Yes, I'm talking about Frankenstein. Victor Frankenstein was messing around with genetics, and he created a monster that we all know as Frankenstein. And then after he created Frankenstein as a monster, he neglected him. He went on about his business and called himself, he's getting ready to get married and have a family. But you created this monster back here that's asking you, why did you make me this way? Who came, eventually killed his fiance and made his life a living hell. So you cannot create a mess and refuse to clean it up. You're not going to go on with your life. Because during the time that you create the mess and your refusal to clean it up, and as time go on, that mess is going to become a bigger mess until you turn around and you clean that mess up. But going back to greatness, we have to understand that we have the gift of greatness inside of us, and we have to inform our youth today that we are gifted with greatness, and how greatness can be a gift or a curse. If greatness is not utilized productively and effectively, then the opposing factor of production and great effectiveness and the gift and everything, the opposing factor is going to be the source of our self-destruction. Now, people may say, well, these kids don't have anything to do with their time. And so simply because the government have failed in keeping these children busy during the summertime, they're only left by way of what these black women have been teaching them for the rest of their lives, for their entire lives. What they are only left with is what they've been taught. And they've been taught a very rebellious and offensive and self-destruction doctrine by their own mothers, along with being neglected by their fathers because of their mothers. Now, people may say, oh, you just blaming everything on black women. If you talk to enough black men, and I bear witness, a whole lot of black men are no longer in the home because of these black women. There's no way around it. I don't care who you listen to, and I don't care who you talk to. Everything that's going on currently in this black community is going to be traced back to this out of control black woman. You can get mad all you want to. And what I said about Tupac Shakur in my other video remains true. I bring this up. You've heard music of Tupac being angry at his father. You know, you wasn't around and you ain't nothing and blah, 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 blah. And then you find out that his mother was the primary person behind the reason why he didn't have his father around. She told Tupac that his father was dead. And then when he found out that his father was alive, she told Tupac that he didn't want to be around. And when Tupac, I believe it's when he got shot those 5 times, that was the first time that he met his father. And they sat down and his dad had explained it to him. His father was on GLAAD, check it out. He was also on The Breakfast Club. So here's a mother watching her son walk around, gutted with pain because of the absence of his father, and she allowed it. By withholding the truth of the matter from her son that she claimed to love. She did a lot of pain to Tupac, and through Tupac's pain, he created the Thug Life. and which caused a lot of us pains until this very day. So you can get mad all you want to about what I say about Tupac, but it's backed up by facts. But the greatness that is sitting up in us as a people is a gift and a curse. And this is one thing you're going to have to understand. We have a greatness sitting up in us, and if it's not utilized through wisdom and intelligence, then through ignorance, rage, and anger, that greatness is going to be utilized in areas to where it's going to cause us a great self-destruction. And this is what we're dealing with today. Let's be accurate on something very important. The whole thing is, we're dealing with a people who have the gift of greatness inside of them. However, we're dealing with a people who are deeply wounded. And we're dealing with a historical account that we are reminded every year in February how we failed. Now, a lot of people may say, well, that's not true. Well, I don't want to be reminded every year that all of my leaders were shot dead trying to make things better for myself. But the whole thing is, understanding how great a people are, and then having a historical account that is rooted in a whole lot of pain. This is another reason why the Europeans didn't want no black man getting into no ring with them, because they knew that black man had a whole lot of pain in him. Not only was he physically superior to him, but that black man had a whole lot of pain sitting up inside of him. That's why we pretty much conquer boxing. And by me being an ex-boxer, you better believe everything that I went through in my life with my family, my parents, everything, I brought all of that in the ring with me. I brought it all in the ring with me. And I was a phenomenal boxer. It's just that I didn't like the way that boxing made me feel all the time. You're always edged up. You're walking down the street, you see every brother you look at, you sizing him up. I bet you I can whoop him. I bet you I can whoop him. And a lot of people don't understand. They justify, well, you know, you a boxer. That's why you're always sizing everybody up. No, that's mental illness. That's what it is. Looking across the street at total strangers, sizing them up, thinking to yourself, I bet you I can physically whoop him. That's called mental illness. That's what it is. That's greatness being directed in an area that is self-destructive and it's making you mentally ill. Mike Tyson, as he said numerous times, his greatest fight was within himself. And that's everyone's fight in life. And if more of us understood that, then a whole lot of us would be successful in more areas than we know individually. But when you're dealing with a lot of pain on the inside, and I have to be honest with you, Brother Tupac was in a lot of pain. I don't know if if y'all seen the footage when he had been invited to some type of conference that he had. I believe it was him. It was the late Khalid Muhammad, rest in peace, and it was some other people there, and he was up there with his little thug life uniform on, and he was ranting and raving, and he was cursing, and I'm looking at him, and he wasn't angry. He was in a rage fit. You know, how are we gonna be a man? You know, and we starving, and ma. And at the end of his speech, when everybody was applauding him, he was fighting back tears because the brother was in pain. He was in pain. Now people may say, well, you're saying this about him now. No, I understand him. I don't condemn him. The only thing that I didn't appreciate is where he took his pain. He took his pain to the youth, and he created an theology, this whole thug theology in the midst of the youth who are our future. And he created a generation of thugs behind this thug life doctrine that he helped cultivate. And he cultivated that through his pain. And it caused a whole lot of our youth to get killed, all the way up until this day. This whole attitude that we're dealing with today, this rebellious attitude. This is what we're dealing with today. Along with a black woman who held truth back from him, who was his mother. And we're dealing with that today. I'm a father, I know. I had 2 kids by a black woman. And all she has done is lied to my sons and caused a whole lot of pain. It's what they do when you don't want to be bothered with them no more because of their attitude and because of their disloyalty. And it filters down to the youth. So when you're dealing with greatness and you're dealing with lies and deceit and pain, there's a very good chance that the opposing dual component of greatness, which is destruction, is going to be in time fed to where it's going to create a whole lot of people who are self-destructive because of the effects of evil being filtered into the gift of greatness that is sitting up inside of them. So you're dealing with a whole lot of things here. You're dealing with greatness and its dual components, and you're dealing with lies and deceit, which cultivates anger and rage and feelings of neglect. All of those things are working, functioning together. There's been a real big mess made. And it's gotten to the point to where a whole lot of us don't even know how we're going to even resolve it. And you already know what governments do when they feel as that a problem has gotten out of control and they have lost all diplomatic means in order to try to resolve it. They just eliminate the problem. And it's getting to the point to where these teenage takeovers are taking the government to that area because these children have been failed. They've been neglected. They've been lied to. And there was a time when they were innocent because they've been lied to. But once you get to a certain age, you're supposed to know better. And the reason why time is running out is because these kids know better than what they're currently doing with themselves. And due to the fact that they know better and they reject better, they're setting themselves up to be eliminated. They're setting themselves up to be eliminated. And it's very, very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. So unless something is done, woe unto the youth and woe unto us. Unless something is done. Something needs to be done. You know, and this whole black theology, y'all need to get rid of that. When people like myself say, here, you can have your black card back because I don't like the direction that you're going in. That's called self-love. I love myself. And so I don't want to congregate with the people who I feel as though they're going in a direction that is totally self-destructive because of the immorality that is being practiced in that particular group. As I said before, you are a sinking ship. And these black women, you can't correct them. With this, who's gonna check me? Who's gonna check me? These black women will fight you physically before they take a word of advice or guidance from you. And this is one of the reasons why the youth are the way that they are this day, because these black women are their teachers. We are in a deep and dark abyss right now when it comes to our community. And us having the gift of greatness sitting up in us, and it's falling mostly on the dark side of what is great. We're looking at a very dark and painful future unless we turn from our wicked ways and end this cycle of self-destruction. Now, you can get mad all you want to about what I said about Tupac, but it's true. It's all true. He created a culture inside of a current culture that was dying. And this is what we're dealing with today. As I said before, hip hop used to be a very, what you energy people call positive. It used to be very positive. And as I said before, here comes Uncle Luke with 2 Live Crew and all of his perversion. And that caused the hip hop generation to become filthy. And then after the 2 Live Crew, here we got the Foxy Browns and the Little Kims. And there was a group that came out of Oakland before Foxy Brown and Little Kim that was managed by MC Hammer called, what was it, 297 or something like that? I know I'm wrong. 357. It was called 357. These 3 beautiful, gorgeous sisters. Those were the ones who started sexualizing the women of the hip hop. Now you had people like Roxanne who was trying to keep it clean. And she did what she could do. But then here comes the Little Kims and the Foxy Browns and the Trinas and all of these people. And all of these groups having an effect on the youth. This youth didn't have a chance. And what you're looking at are the results. And then what little bit of morality that we had left in hip hop, here comes Tupac and his thug life thing. And then the East Coast and the West Coast thing stirred up between him and Biggie. And he took his gift of greatness and attacked Biggie publicly. With that whole video, hit him up. This is what I'm talking about when it comes to greatness. You can either utilize your greatness for the sake of good and become greatly successful, or you can utilize your gift of greatness for the wrong purposes and suffer a great form of self-destruction.